Hey, what's up, everybody? So, in my skeptical, pro-skepticism journey into just being a skeptic in general, basically, I was recently thinking about space. And you know how very few people, I mean, if you consider the billions of people who live on the face of the earth, it's got to be, I mean, just compare that to the proportionally tiny little number of people been to space. Space is something that everyone pretty much believes in, but a very, very, very tiny minority of people have been to space. So I was just thinking to myself, it's crazy, this whole space is fake thing, right? I'm like, let me put my skeptic cap on, let's just like be a skeptic here, because I've always been a fan of like, basically like being skeptical, like just like, hey, let's be skeptics, like, you know, I just feel like, like everyone should love being a skeptic. That's basically my view. So you know what? This whole space is fake. What if space is fake? Well, if space is fake, then that would mean that space is fantasy. It's a fantasy. It's a pure fantasy. And it got me thinking about how, well, if space is just a literal fantasy, it doesn't exist, then science fiction should no longer be called science fiction. Science fiction, if space is fake, and everything we think we know about space, from the moon landing to cultural representations of space with Star Wars and Star Trek, all the space propaganda, if it turns out that space is fake, then science fiction is nothing more than fantasy. Everything you've ever seen about space, from spaceships flying and shooting things and landing on other spheres light years away from Earth, all these grand things that only exist on a TV screen for 99% of the population, excluding the tiny percent who have allegedly been to space, if you believe that, then that means that science fiction, why would they separate science fiction from the fantasy category? Think about that for a second. You go search any bookstore. You have your fantasy section, and then you have science fiction. And in many cases, science fiction is about space. But if space is fake, then science fiction falls under fantasy now. Because think about how oxymoronical that is. What an oxymoron that is. Science, if anything, means truth. Fiction means fake. It's like a clash of terms. It's almost like they put it right there in front of your face. It's science, the pursuit of truth. And it's fiction, it's fake. Now, of course, they mean science fiction. But my point is, if space turns out to be fake, then that means science fiction is nothing more than science fantasy. Indeed, why even put the word science there if it's all just a big fantasy? You go ahead and you look through it, and science fiction, most of it is spheres and space. It's almost entirely spheres and space and aliens. And I found that to be very, very interesting. Because you know what? More powerful than the moon landing, more powerful than sitting in a science class, more powerful than anything NASA tells you, is probably the cultural representation of space, the cultural presentation of space. Just telling you, it's just think about the impact Star Wars has, Star Trek, science fiction in general, movies like Alien or Aliens. This is a big part of culture about what the human mind creates. The problem is, instead of putting it in the category of fantasy, they slap the word science in front of it, and now you suddenly think that this is somehow based in truth. So, this was sort of a random video, guys. I know I haven't uploaded in weeks, so I probably have a bunch of, new subscribers who don't, this video is completely out of left field, and, that's fine. If this isn't what you're into, then, you can just smash the unsubscribe button. But yeah, this is just, just me continuing on my, just my skeptical journey, just being like a skeptic and like ever since I heard about the skeptic community, I was like, oh wow, there's like a community like online, like the skeptic. You guys ever heard of like the skeptic community? It was fucking wild. And so once I heard that there was like the skeptic community, I was like, oh shit. So it's like politically correct to be skeptical. It's like, oh, this is cool. So now ever since then, like I put my skeptic hat on, and now I'm just like a skeptic, dude. I'm just like asking questions and being skeptical. Like it's like just like being a skeptic. It's a great. So that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, man, that stuff is flat. This is a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's not me saying this shit. All right, he says you can't see Earth's curvature from 128,000 feet high with a very wide field of view. So what an ironic and hilarious troll. That stuff is flat. T-shirts are available. The link is right down there in the description. That's it for now. Thank you guys for watching.
Kyrie Irving believes it to be flat.
No.
You saw this, right?
Don't get me started.
So we are not on a spinning ball.
Okay.
We're on a flat, motionless.
Oh, this is flat Earth. So you're pitching this as a serious call.
Yeah, no, that's yours.
Welcome back, my woke friends. Earth looks flat, it feels flat. The logical explanation is the Earth is flat, right?
No.
You saw this, right?
Don't get me started. And that dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, what's his name? Felix!
Felix Baumgartner.
Felix Baumgartner.
It's billed as the free fall from the edge of space.
Don't get me started. He would have been about 2 millimeters above the surface of this globe. That's his edge of space jump.
And you don't see the curve of the Earth at any altitude. And then
You can see the curve of the Earth at certain altitudes, though.
Yeah, I was on a plane to get here and I saw it.
Yeah.
This morning, the Austrian daredevil plans to jump from 23 miles above the New Mexican desert. That's 120,000 feet, 4 times higher than most passenger planes fly.
And not only that, they made sure to photograph him standing there with a really wide-angle lens, which curves horizontal lines. So in the photo, you see this curvature of Earth's surface, and he said, wow, he's in space, look at that. No, he's not.
And so when I went flying from England to Africa, the curvature that I saw, would that be just something that I expected to see and my sort of eyes made it look that way?
It was observation that showed us the Earth's curvature in the first place. And if you don't believe all of those scientists and government people for some reason, fly in an airplane and behold an inarguably spherical Earth.
At that height, you don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball.
This is a man who just minutes ago was going 536 miles an hour, break the sound barrier on his way down.
The sky was totally black, I could see the curvature of the Earth, so that was amazing today.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth.
I could see the curvature of the Earth.
You don't see the curvature of the Earth if you are 2 millimeters above this beach ball. You just don't. That stuff is flat.
I travel a lot and I fly a lot and I can see the curvature when I fly.
Okay, so 35,000 feet, you can see it, right? That's what you're saying?
Generally speaking, I can see a slight curve to it, yeah.
Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson says that you can't see it at that altitude, so I really...
This really doesn't... We have satellites.
That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat. Don't get me started.